Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Brief the Week. I'm Jan Moray here with my co-host, Mona Duncan, and we have a special guest host, Kim Olver, who's here also. We are working on the online basic intensive training, and we decided to take time off to do our Brief the Week session. And this week's topic is wanna play. And Dr. Glasser talked about having fun is essential to our learning. And so Mona is going to lead us in the discussion about the importance of play.
Yeah, well, I always find it so interesting, and other people do too, whenever I talk to the fact that Dr. Glasser looked at the fact that fun, asked people, what do you do for fun? And did you enjoy that? And he said that fun is nature's reward for learning. And that just puts a whole new perspective on it. That if I'm not learning, or if I'm pushing something out, if I'm not paying attention, then I'm automatically not having fun. It's because it's nature's reward for learning. And it may not be ha-ha giggle fun,
right.
but it's an enjoyable fun. It's something that you're learning. It's something that you're leaning into. And so we are looking at putting the basic intensive training for choice theory and reality therapy onto that people can do it at home, do it on their own. And I had a guy that contacted me wanting to be a part of, and I said, well, we're looking at that in the future, and I've gotten 3 mails from him.
Is it ready yet?
Is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Can we hear you now?
Well, that's good. That's great that there's that kind of interest in it.
Well, yeah, but he was that interested.
Yeah. Well, I think other people would be too.
Yeah.
I'm projecting that out.
Yeah. For whatever reason, this particular person is homebound, and it was difficult for him to go anywhere. But is really looking forward to it being online and getting together here. We're at Jan's lovely home in Round Rock, right outside of Austin, Texas, and she's been gracious enough to host us and feed us vegan and all kinds of good stuff. And so we're having a lot of fun. So Kim, tell us what fun is to you. What do you find fun? Lean in and talk to us.
Okay, so there's a lot of things. I think to me for fun as what brings joy. And so for me, it could be a walk on a beach, watching the sunset. It could be learning something that is exciting to me. I have an editor that edits everything I like, and every time I read how she's edited my work, I giggle. I literally giggle because I find it so fascinating that she could take 3 sentences that I wrote and pare it down into a very, she just shortens everything, and it's so direct to the point and concise that it's such a pleasure. And it just makes me laugh.
Come on in. She's wanting you to come in. So you're saying you're not as loquacious as she is, or you're more loquacious?
The thing I do is I write as I speak. So I have my words and I'll start a sentence with love or love, and that's not necessarily right. And she fixes all of that. That's terrific to me, and I'm learning something because as she does that, I'm learning. I make those changes, so next time I won't make that same mistake. And it's fun to me. Also, being with my grandchildren, doing just about anything is fun. And I also find it relaxing. I love going to the spa or, reading a good book, watching a good movie. So
it doesn't have to be real active to have fun.
No, I'm getting a little old for active. But I do roller skate. I've been roller skating with my grandkids recently. That was fun. Anything, active is okay, but I think I'm more of the quiet, relaxing kind of fun. I like spending time with friends, and that usually involves eating and, talking. It's always talking with me.
Yeah. What about you, Jan? What do you like to do for fun?
I'm also the quiet type of fun person. I like doing puzzles. I love learning. I love learning new things. I mean, the whole thing about this Well, when I got into choice theory, I did a lot of research on it. When I got into this new, the way I eat now, I've done a lot of research to learn about it, and I just think learning new things is interesting, and it's fun for me. But you talk about roller skating. When my kids were doing rollerblades, I bought myself a pair, and I would go out skating with them. And I like to be outdoors. That's another one of my enjoyments, is to go out and take a walk, or wander around. I have my yard is very natural, and so you don't feel like you're in the city when you're outside and walking amongst the trees and the deer and whatever other critters are wandering around. So, but I also like being with the family over the holidays, even though having so many people at the house is a bit stressful. It's also fun.
Sometimes it's more fun looking back on it than
Right.
at the moment. Well, I have fun through reading. I like to get my hands in the dirt, literally. Get out and sit on the ground, and even if it's just pulling weeds, I just find that really, really fun. And, so what are you learning by pulling weeds? Well, I understand that Helen Keller was able to differentiate between a weed and a flower, something that was more beneficial just by the touch. And so touch can be, we learn through our senses. And one of those senses is touch, and whether or not whether it's smooth where you touch it, or whether it's hard when you touch it, or whether we're, being hit or being caressed. And so all of those things give a different connotation to it. Having fun. And maybe you are having fun and you haven't identified it, and maybe think, yeah, that was fun. And if we could take it apart as to why it was fun, research it was because I was learning something, and what did I learn? And if you're learning something, it can be about, well, what is the scope of our learning ability? To learn about ourselves, to learn about others, to learn how that what we did brings a feedback from someone else, and to have fun.
And fun is different for different people. I mean, Kim and I both talked about being quiet fun, but for a lot of people, if you're sitting at home, it's not fun. You need to be out. You need to be out with a lot of people. And I mean, I can remember years ago, after I had divorced my husband, I had a real good friend at work who was trying to match me up with whomever he could find, and he invited me to this party. And that particular day, I had gone to the Container Store and bought stuff to make some shelves. And this was a very aggressive project. And so I got started putting up the shelves, and I got so involved in it that I didn't go to the party, but I was really enjoying putting up the shelves, because I felt a sense of accomplishment that I was doing it, And then he's like, well, how come you weren't at the party? And I said, well, because I was having fun at home alone. He just kind of shook his head. He just couldn't understand how that could possibly be fun for me.
Right. The work was fun for you as the accomplishment. So fun is speculative, subjective, depending on what goes with your personality, what goes with your likes and dislikes. Yeah. My daughter, I found her very difficult. Well, difficult, not difficult. It was difficult to correct her because I'd give her a timeout and thinking that, ask her, yeah. I guess I really was looking forward to punishment more than something. And she would just have fun over it. I mean, she was connecting dots on the wall and making designs and doing all kinds of things. And so we can make things be fun if we have the right mindset. What do you think?
Oh, I think that's true. I think, especially people with the high need for fun, they have to make things fun, or they won't do it. For me, I have fun. Fun is more for me of a byproduct of when I'm with people that I like, when I'm with people that I care about, I always have fun. What, I guess I'm not, it's not easy to hear me, so I'm trying to lean in here. I'm sorry. I apologize if you can't. So I have fun when I'm with people that I care about. I also have fun when I'm feeling free. It's more, it's not like I go out looking for fun, but fun tends to be a byproduct for me. So I think one of the biggest ways for me to have fun that I neglected to mention, and you reminded me, is when I'm working. I just had a 40th class reunion a year ago, and everybody was talking about retiring, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I don't want to retire. I love what I do. If I ever retired, I'd be miserable. So I have fun when I'm connecting with others. That's usually my highest piece of fun. So while I like quiet, relaxing fun, I like the fun that involves other people. And so I think it is a very individual thing. What brings you joy is very different. Like some people love sunrises. Sunrises are not joyful for me because it's too early. I would much rather see a sunset. So it's really very different.
Yeah. Well, entitled is want to play. So in wanting to play and wanting to have fun, it's making it playful. It is finding something about it that can have some kind of enjoyment to it. So that, rather than being bored, well, we're boring only when we become bored only when we are boring, being bored with stuff. And anytime you look up, you absolutely can't look down. And it changes our whole physiology just by looking up. I mean, it begins to release some chemicals and things that we wouldn't have otherwise. So just using, making some movement of some kind that gives some activity to it, that helps to stir up those creative juices. And we're all creators, so we can create fun. We can create playing. We can.
Well, another thing you were talking about people retiring, and but in your job, even if you're working for a boss manager, someone who tells you what to do and micromanages and stuff, you can still find fun and enjoyment. There's always something about the job that's enjoyable, and so you just have to learn to try to do more of that, or those days when things aren't going so well, to try to put that, switch your focus into doing something that's more enjoyable, and put stuff that's not so enjoyable, or put your earplugs in so you don't hear your manager fussing at you. So because you can't always find enjoyment in things if you look.
You can, but that kind of like a little caveat that we want to have in being enjoyment, but we want to laugh at ourselves and with others, not using anyone as the brunt of a joke, not being sarcastic, not having fun at someone else's expense.
Right.
It's always having the humanity at heart, and bringing in, drawing together, so it's just more meaningful. That makes it more enjoyable.
I would agree with that, Mona, with one exception.
Okay.
So I don't like being sarcastic. That's not my way. However, I married into a family of sarcastic people, but they only are sarcastic with people that they like. So when you're around that family, and my children are now part of that family, there's a lot of sarcastic banter and play that goes on. And when I spend time in that environment, in the beginning it was hard, but it's almost like a cultural thing. You shift, and I can get in there with the best of them, and I become sarcastic, and I'm laughing myself silly because nobody's being mean. They're not trying to hurt anyone. They're having fun, but they have it in a sarcastic way. So again, I think fun is individual, but you want to be careful with sarcasm for sure. You don't want to be using that with somebody who doesn't understand it or who may take it the wrong way. I think that's really an important point.
So even in a sarcastic circumstance, you can still have fun if you don't take it personally.
Absolutely. That's right.
So it kind of comes back to ourselves and what I can learn from this that would allow me to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of enjoyment, as opposed to becoming angry with the sarcasm.
That was my mother, right? I'll get involved in this family because I'm not into it. And my husband's brother in particular was always on her. And so my husband's brother was always picking on my mom. I'm leaning across you
Yeah.
and I'm really sorry,
Of
but
course.
you can't hear me on my side. So I had to say to my mother, look, he doesn't pick on people he doesn't like. And once she knew that, she just gave it back to him. And she had fun too. But my mother's not like that either. She can be with certain people, but she had to understand.
Right.
Yeah, I remember my dad told me that when I was a kid in elementary school because I was complaining. So I got my hair cut real short, and the kids started calling me the monster from nowhere. And I would come home crying, and Dad would say, "Well, you know, Jan, they wouldn't tease you if they didn't like you." Of course, I didn't make it feel any better, but at least I was like, okay, well, maybe you do like me, but if she doesn't feel like it.
Right. That takes me back to my daughters talking about that. My husband was the manager of Safeway, and so we'd go over there and shop, and there's this one guy that was always teasing her, and he would tease her about her dad. And, you know, her dad went out to lunch with this hot chick and all that kind of stuff. She just get real upset with him. And I said, well, honey, just tell him that you hoped he had fun.
That would be what you would say.
Yeah. And I really had to help coach him. It's not a big deal. And anyway, one day, you know, she said something similar to that. You know, well, I hope he had fun or whatever. And he said, she's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. You know, if you don't enjoy what somebody is, how somebody's teasing you, then don't respond in the way you think they want you to respond, because then it isn't fun for them anymore. And so that's another way to handle it. If you really don't like it, is don't get pulled into it, and respond in the way that you want to respond, so that hopefully they'll quit doing that.
Yeah.
Or not give them the pleasure of exciting you, or whatever.
Right. And it is, we teach people how to treat us.
Yeah.
And we can teach them in a way that is not off-putting, because otherwise they might treat us in ugly ways, and we want it to be nice that we treat them in a humane and acceptable way, and that we be treated in a humane and acceptable way. And so it was through all of that, learning how to teach people, you know, how to treat me, that I came up with my philosophy that all bullies are the same, meaning that they can give it, but they can't take it.
Oh.
And so if we learn to give it back in a way that is not letting that agenda of theirs move forward, but doing it in a way that is not off-putting, I mean, you know, they may initially stomp away and, well, I didn't want to do it anyway. But eventually, if that was really something we want to do, it's more of a bringing together, because we're not your
Punching bag.
Yeah, right. Well, I was going to say punching bag, but then I was thinking I'm not your sarcastic board.
Right.
The object of the sarcasm. And so it's having fun in life. It's having fun with relationships. It's having fun with who you are, enjoying who you are, being comfortable in your own company, that no matter where you are, you can find something that is worthwhile to learn about you, and it makes it more enjoyable.
And not having fun at the expense of somebody else. I mean, even with people being sarcastic and understanding that's the culture, there are some people that just really don't enjoy it. And so to be aware of those people, yes, but you're not doing it at the expense of someone else.
Yeah. Well, have we?
So we're having fun. We're having fun working on this online course, and we had to tear ourselves away from it to do Greet the Week today, and then we're going to go out to lunch. So
Where we'll have fun. I have fun. That's my kind of fun.
Very enjoyable.
and so we hope anybody who's watching this who hasn't been through a basic training, once we get the course out, that you will enjoy the course and have fun with it, and come join us at our conferences and other activities that we put together, and have fun with us, or even just to join us here on Greet the Week and have fun with us.
Many blessings.
All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.